Good morning once again, everyone, and welcome to our 2014 President's Hall of Fame breakfast. I'm Mitch Holtis. It's a pleasure to welcome you here to this beautiful and historic Peabody Opera House this morning for this year's edition in our Hall of Fame induction. 7 years ago, the Valley celebrated its centennial year, and the Valley now remains the second oldest institution athletics conference in the country, second only to the Big Ten, which was established in 1896. In the ensuing 107 years, the Valley has been home to 36 universities, national champions, terrific member schools. It has a unique and a rich history. Dr. James Naismith, the inventor of the game of basketball, was one of the league's founding fathers, and charter members of the original 7, so to speak, included Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, Drake, Washington U of St. Louis, just down the street, and Ames Teachers College, now Iowa State. There have been 26 other institutions since that time that have hailed from 13 states in our membership. This league is nationally known. It has had national champions, teams. It has had national champion student athletes. None of the success, and this year we celebrate a 31-0 regular season champion team, which that's never been done in the history of all of college basketball, with a 31-0 team during a regular season. Wichita State. I will say this, I was at Kansas Wednesday night for I did the Kansas-Texas Tech game, and people said, hey, you're going to Arch Madness. Won't that be like David and Goliath with Wichita State? And I said, yeah, kind of, but it's kind of like Goliath with an energy drink, okay? So, all right, here we go. None of the success on the campuses, any of the 10 campuses, would happen without the contribution and commitment from the Missouri Valley Conference President's Council. They are committed on each of their campuses to have the best athletic programs possible. And these men and women lead the way with servant leadership on their campuses, both in the academic endeavors of their campuses and also with athletics. I would like to introduce now those council members who are in attendance today. From Bradley University, please welcome President Joanne Glasser. From Drake University, Dr. David Maxwell. From the University of Evansville, Dr. Tom Kazee and his wife Sharon. From Indiana State, Dr. Dan Bradley and his wife Cherie. From Missouri State University, President Cliff Smart and his wife Gail. Representing the University of Northern Iowa, Dr. William Rood and his wife Judy. Also here is the Chancellor of Southern Illinois University, Dr. Rita Chang and her husband Tom. And from Wichita State University, Dr. John Bardo and his wife Deborah. We thank each of these institutional CEOs for their strong commitment to athletics on their campuses and, of course, to this conference. As we continue this morning, I'd like to take just a moment to thank a few individuals who have made this possible today. From the folks here at the Peabody Opera House staff, Amber Daniels, Adrian Silverstein, Daniel Whitehead, also Chris Frome from Scott Trade Center. They've worked very hard to prepare your meal this morning and to provide the setup here at Peabody Opera House. Valley staffer Carla Fite has saved me throughout the winter several times and responsible for the planning and execution of this event. Also, Associate Commissioner Jack R. Watkins, Assistant Commissioner Kelly Briscoe, the Chair of the Valley Hall of Fame Committee, providing guidance for the selection of these inductees today. And a special thanks to Jim Trotter, the St. Louis-based photographer and artist who has produced the stunning frame portraits you'll see in just a few minutes that will be presented to our inductees and to their member institutions. Jim and his wife Joyce are with us today. We want to thank all of those folks and give them a round of applause. They have worked very hard year-round to make this morning possible. Servant leadership is a buzzword that you hear a lot on each of your campuses and that I hear throughout athletics and collegiate athletics. But the epitome of that is really the commissioner of this conference. As I said yesterday at our Coach of the Year luncheon, it is not an easy time to be a commissioner of any league. And Doug Elgin has provided not only direction for this conference, but he has provided a unique approach, a very imaginative approach. For example, we talked about all winter in our telecast. The second tiebreaker for our teams in seeding for this tournament was non-conference strength of schedule. The only league to do that, and if you think about it, it's the most practical way to do it based on the culture of how the NCAA committee looks at college basketball teams. But Doug has been fabulous, and I do pray to the Lord God in heaven I'll be here on a morning when he is inducted into this Hall of Fame, because there will come that day. We are fortunate, ladies and gentlemen, in this league to have this man be the servant leader of this conference. Please welcome the Commissioner of the Valley, Doug Elgin.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the MVC President's Council and our entire conference community, I want to extend a warm welcome to our honorees today, their families and friends who are here for this very special ceremony. Our Hall of Fame has always been a very important part of our Missouri Valley Tournament weekend. Each year it provides us with the opportunity to revisit our roots and the great tradition and history of this league. When we started our Hall of Fame in 1997 with a class of 8 charter inductees, we had a lot of history to make up. We had 90 years of history in the league. We had over 30 member institutions and all of the sports that we've sponsored. I think the Hall of Fame committee has done an excellent job in identifying and bringing forward to honor the inductees who have come through the doors of this Hall of Fame through the years. We only need look at the names and faces of the people who were previously inducted into this Hall of Fame to appreciate the caliber of the student athletes and coaches, administrators, and contributors who have been brought into our Hall of Fame. Every one of the class of 2014 has been spectacular in their achievements at his or her institution and here in the conference. It's especially meaningful for me today to see 2 longtime colleagues being inducted into our Hall of Fame. 4 inductees can certainly be compared with those who have come before them in their respective sports. We certainly appreciate the opportunity to honor this class. Look forward to their comments later today, and I want to thank everybody for their attendance. Hope all of you enjoy the madness this weekend. Thank you.
Well, our first inductee is truly a special person. There's just some people that you meet that just immediately lift your soul, and to me, Marty is one of those guys. Our first honoree is Dr. Marty Perline of Wichita State University, who receives the Paul Morrison Award this morning. The Morrison Award is given to honor those individuals who have made significant contributions to their respective league member institutions, the Valley or collegiate athletics in general. Named after, of course, Paul Morrison, the anchor of Drake athletics for years and years. Marty's a St. Louisan, so it fits that we're here this morning. Marty retired in May of 2013 after 38 years of service as faculty athletics representative at Wichita State University. His main task was to certify the athletic eligibility of all Shocker student athletes. He became professor of economics at Wichita State in 1971. He became Associate Dean of the School of Business Administration from 71 to 73, a very prestigious School of Business Administration, one of the best in the country. He was also the recipient of numerous awards for his role as teacher, but his presence was felt everywhere throughout the Shocker athletic department. As Bruce Hurdle of KWCH Television in Wichita relates, Marty is one of the most loved and respected fixtures in Wichita State athletics. And Marty always challenged the Shockers to go one step better.
He never threw a pitch, took a shot, jumped a hurdle, or made a putt at Wichita State, but Marty Perline's influence is everywhere in Shocker athletics.
His legacy that he has left is unmeasurable, of the student athletes, the coaches, the administrators whom he mentored to build the program that we have today and to help us sharpen our swords and get better.
For 38 years, Marty acted as the university's faculty athletic representative.
It's incredible. Of what he did for this university, never got a dime for it, never was paid for the role that he played as faculty athletic rep, but was always there 24/7 if we needed him.
And they needed him plenty, in good moments and bad, always with the same even keel. His dedication to the student athlete ran deep.
Helping us with dealing with issues on campus, being our advocate on campus, letting them know that indeed we truly care about our student athletes and hold them accountable for their academics, for the way they behave.
His consistency, not only with his manner, but his message, is what strikes you about Marty Perline. Calm but firm, tough at times, but always fair, with an ability to continually adapt his style through generations of athletes.
When he came into the Valley, he learned from his mentors, the other people that had been faculty athletic reps. He learned from the people at the Valley office, and then he transformed that into his own style. What he brings to the table is a lot of history, and he knows how to relate to student athletes in relationship to the history that he has. And even though students have changed, Marty was capable of changing with the students as they moved along. And I think that's the component that makes him as good as he really is.
Amongst his considerable accolades, what may really have set Marty apart was his ability to listen, to really hear the issues of students who looked to him for so much.
Our student athletes knew that if they had something that they had to get off their chest or they wanted to talk to, we would lead them to Marty, and he would listen, and he was the voice of reason, and they knew that he cared.
They all loved him and respected him because they knew that he had their best interests at heart. Because he had their best interests at heart, you will treat each other like family. It's what I talk about all the time. Marty was family. Marty treated all of our student athletes and our staff like family. He loved us, but many times we didn't like him because he challenged us to be better than what we thought we could be and to accomplish things that we didn't think we could accomplish.
For the Missouri Valley Conference, I'm Bruce Hurdle.
I'll just add this. Sometimes on individual campuses we can get kind of myopic, and sometimes it requires that. Marty was outstanding in connectivity with this conference because he always also looked out for the conference as well as Wichita State University. A perfect inductee today to receive the Paul Morrison Award. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Marty Perline of Wichita State University.
Good morning. I really couldn't believe what I was seeing over here. Thought it was somebody else. I want to thank the staff of the MVC for this award. I am truly honored. I want to thank Carla Fight as well for the logistics. I know that it has not been easy. It's extremely humbling to see some of the people who have received this award in the past and many of the honorees today. I also want to thank my friends and colleagues at WSU for those really nice comments they made about me. They know how much I enjoyed working with everyone there. Also want to thank my friends and family who showed up this morning at this very early hour. At least the WSU people, I'm sure, would have preferred being in bed dreaming of shocker victories and #1 seeding and Final Fours and all that kind of thing. 5 minutes. I've been given 5 minutes. And for a professor to say anything in 5 minutes is hard to do. But I'm going to try. As a matter of fact, I was told anonymously, a person obviously wasn't permitted to speak publicly. They told me if I'm not at 4 minutes and 45 seconds, they're going to play the Shocker Fight song. And I've not done at 5 minutes. Doug Elgin is personally going to come up here and yank me off. I thought I would talk about the life and times of 38 years as faculty rep. Starting at well, I better not start at year 1. I could start with my appointment. I got a call one day from the athletic director way back in 1976, who said, "You want to have lunch?" I didn't know the athletic director, but you know, a free lunch. We economists say there's no such thing as a free lunch, but we always take one when it's offered. I came home and told my wife, Donna, I'm going to have lunch with the athletic director. I don't know what he wants. And she said, well, you haven't renewed your football ticket yet. Maybe he's going to try to sell those tickets to you. Well, we had lunch, and he told me about this faculty rep job and all this sort of thing, and would you like to do it? You were recommended by somebody, and I thought about it a while, and obviously I did it. There was, by the way, a job description. Mitch, I think, told you pretty much what that job description was. It doesn't mean a thing. I found that out. The job description should state the faculty rep's job is to do everything mandated by the NCAA, plus anything the athletic administration does not want to do. That falls to the faculty rep. One of the things that has meant more to me than anything else are the relationships. Relationships really on campus, MVC, all over the conference with all my very friends and colleagues at various schools in the conference. In these 38 years, I've met 5 presidents at WSU, 7 athletic directors at WSU. I don't know how many coaches. Obviously, presidents last longer than ADs, and ADs last longer than coaches, and faculty reps apparently last longer than any of them. Must be nice to be a faculty rep. 4 MVC commissioners, and with Doug for the last, 26, 28, it seems like forever, years, which have really been great. Great MVC staff over all those years, and great WSU staff. People that you could work with. It was unbelievable. Probably, I don't know, 7,500, 8,000 student athletes over all this period of time. But who's counting? It's just an awful lot of really important relationships. What did I get to do as faculty? I go to meetings. That's what I do. I thought about this, and I think I've gone to probably, between the NCAA and the MVC, 100 meetings. I can't even begin to count the number of meetings that I've gone through on campus. They're endless. The sports banquets that I've gone to, and I must thank my wife Donna for, well, usually being graciously willing to accompany me to these events. A lot of rubber chicken over the years, and a lot of real proud moments to see many of our student athletes honored. Also, I've had the opportunity to visit almost all of the MVC cities. Now, these are great places to live. This is not Palo Alto, Seattle, Tucson, if you want to visit, but they're great places to visit, and had an opportunity to meet people there, which I would not have had the opportunity to do otherwise. Committees. Committees, as you know, first of all in universities, and then even in athletics, go on and on and on. I think I've served every committee the MVC has, everything from the Bylaws and Constitution Committee, which is a wonderful committee if it doesn't meet. If it meets, it's hell. Also, I've served on the Finance Committee, I don't know how many years, and it's sort of, the finance thing is sort of ingrained in my head. I'm an economist, but I was thinking last year when we were in the Final Four, I'm thinking, this is fabulous. Here we are, Wichita State in the Final Four, and I'm so excited about the game. And I'm thinking on the other side of my brain, let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 units, 450,000. That's going into the MVC treasury. So this finance thing, it just sticks with you forever. I've had thrill upon thrill upon thrill of athletics. College World Series in 1989, we're invited to the White House. What an experience that was. NIT, 2 years ago when we were the champions of the NIT in New York, and I must stop, I think I've got a minute and a half left, to relay a story. After we won the championship, we all went back to the Marriott where we were staying, and there was this huge celebration. The staff of WSU MVC people, a lot of our fans were there, champagne was going everywhere. And I walked over to Coach Marshall, and I said, Coach, congratulations on a great year. And I said, I'm really glad this is over. I don't think I can miss any more classes to go to athletic events. And he looked at me and he said, you know, I wish I had your job. And I looked at him and I said, gee, I wish I had your salary. And that sort of got us off on the right track. Let me try to get this, close on this, my 5 minutes. And one, congratulate all the honorees today. Linda Herman is a personal friend, and we've been through, I can't tell you how many wars together in the MVC, even though she comes from Illinois State. But we're good friends. Also, I want to thank everybody at the MVC over all of these years. I want to thank all my colleagues from other institutions, faculty, reps, administrators, and I want to thank the WSU Athletic Department. This is a great department to work with, everything from the athletic director on down. And I would probably be a bit remiss if I didn't mention specifically Ruth Motz. Ruth has been there almost as long as I've been there. Ruth is the go-to person. There's not a question about WSU athletics she can't answer. She always told me where to be, when to be there. Tremendous organization. I really appreciate that, Ruth. But all of the people at WSU are fantastic. I want to thank all of you. It has been a great 38-year run. I couldn't be happier. Thank you so very much.
I'm thinking, Marty, that first lunch, that first AD would have been Ted Bradyhoff. Am I wrong? Ted Bradyhoff. You paid for lunch. Gold fever, baby. A couple of the great moments I've had in covering this league have been at Indiana State University. The night that they had to play a game to wrap up a conference championship, and Larry Bird walked into the arena 5 minutes before tip. The place was packed. That great fight song was playing, and it's just a moment I'll never forget. And I had another one of those just a week ago on Jake Odom's senior day in front of a great crowd, band playing, lots of emotion. None of that would have happened without our next inductee, because Bob King took Indiana State to another level. Bob King's reputation as an insightful administrator and basketball coach, starting with his roots as a native of Gravity, Iowa. He took New Mexico to new heights. The court is named after him, and the pit. But he was an easy selection in transforming Indiana State University, which was facing a time, whether to be the old college division or going to Division I, trying to find a major conference to be in. In 1974, Bob began his role as athletic director at Indiana State. He's best remembered as the basketball coach, 61 wins between 75 and 78. Took the Sycamores to the NIT in 77 and 78, but he put together the parts that became the most famous Missouri Valley Conference team to this point. That was the Larry Bird team that was undefeated at 33-0 and went all the way to the NCAA Finals and lost that unforgettable game. Some think the best final in history, the Magic Johnson versus Larry Bird game. But as Valley Video correspondent John Sherman of Indiana State explains, Coach King was the guy that put Indiana State on the map.
In 1974, when Indiana State University President Dr. Alan Rankin brought in Bob King to be his new director of athletics, Rankin told King he had three things to get accomplished: get the Sycamores into a conference, move the football team into Division I, and develop a winning basketball team. You can mark those three items as accomplished in his 6 years as AD at Indiana State. The Sycamores joined the Missouri Valley Conference. His football program was ranked #1 at one point by the man he hired, and his basketball team would take the entire country by storm. King came to ISU to be the AD, but getting back on the bench in 1975 was something he wanted, and many in the area wanted it as well. A man with great self-confidence in himself and his decisions, Bob King was a different man on game day as a coach, wanting everything to be done on time and control of all news items if possible.
Did not want to see on the local news that we had broken into the top 20 of the AP before the game. He would have preferred that had been announced after the game. I explained, Coach, we have no control over these kinds of things.
Bob King was a man who could spot his type of player right away, when putting New Mexico on the college basketball map as their head coach for 10 seasons, and to finding a tall, lanky, blonde-haired kid by the name of Larry Bird.
Yeah, he was absolutely fantastic for me. Coming in here, you know, I was a scorer, and all his emphasis was on defensive end. He taught me a lot. He was a great man to play for. It was unfortunate that our senior year he wasn't a major part of it, even though he was a big part of it. But he was there along the way and gave us support, and we all admire Coach King, all of us.
Coach King put a team together, beginning with that 75 season that mirrored his image: tough, hard-nosed, and smart.
Coach King it was always honest. He never, he wasn't somebody that would get in your face and curse at you. You knew when he was upset, he didn't have to, but very defensive-minded. He was one of those just hard-nosed, and even at his age then, which was probably in his 50s, I mean, he'd get right out there, boy, and he'd be doing the shuffle drill right along with you and showing you exactly what he wanted.
In the most famous year of Sycamore basketball, Coach King suffered a stroke prior to the start of the season. His assistant, Bill Hodges, was named the interim coach and led the Sycamores to the NCAA championship game.
It was like putting a piece of puzzle together, and he knew, you know, just kind of what pieces he needed to do that. I mean, he had guys that were defensive specialists that could rebound, but you put Larry out there with you, I mean, there's not much you have to do.
Bob King meant a great deal to Sycamore athletics. Despite only coaching 3 years, he's still third in winning percentage, coached 4 players to score 1,000 points or more, went to 2 NIT tournaments in his 3 years. Bob King knew basketball, and he knew people.
But he was the boss. He was the guy in charge, and everyone responded to that. Not because he landed with a heavy hand or shouted or waved his arms around, a little bit like his bench demeanor. But you know, we had a leader there that we knew.
We now know him as a member of the Missouri Valley Conference Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Cheryl and Brad King, who accept on behalf of their husband and father.
Thank you. Hey, members of the Missouri Valley Conference and friends too, we are delighted to be here. It is just amazing. On behalf of the Bob King and the Bob King family, I would like to thank you. I'm standing here thinking, this is just like getting an Academy Award, an Oscar. I'd like to thank all of you that made that possible. First of all, I'd like to thank a great big thanks, in fact, to our friends, our special friends at Indiana State University. And thanks, many, many thanks to all those who made this road possible. And to the Missouri Valley Conference Hall of Fame, we thank you very, very much. The ride has been splendid. Thanks.
All right, it's my turn. My goodness, Brad Miley had a bigger fro than anybody on that team. You know, it's very humbling being here. I bet just about everybody in this room can agree that there's nothing that makes you feel better than when someone comes up to your parents, your mother, your father, and treats them with great respect. And over the years, I've seen many big-name coaches, little kids who would, you know, everything and anyone in between come up to my father and say, hey, Coach King, you know, can you sign this? And just say the most humbling of things. You would just stand there and just be so excited every time somebody did that. And I remember going to Salt Lake City in 1979. I remember getting on the plane with Brad and Leroy, who were right over there, and remember sitting next to Larry Bird on the airplane. And I remember a practice, but I don't remember the games at all. I don't know why I don't remember the games at all. I remember going with my grandfather up to get Cracker Jacks, things like that. But the one thing that does really stick out was I remember when my father was called up after the championship game for an award, and I remember feeling very humbled by that. So it was a very humbling experience to be here today, accepting this award on behalf of my father. I really wish he were here. So, thank you so much to the Valley. This is a spectacular event. We're so happy to be here. Thank you.
Our next inductee is truly one of the very best in his sport in league history. A native of Grand Turk, Turks, and Caicos Islands, Gavin Glinton is the only four-time All-American in Missouri Valley Conference men's soccer history. And he joins women's basketball legend Jackie Stiles as the only four-year All-Americans in any sport in the 107-year history of this league. Glinton is far and away Bradley's soccer all-time leading scorer, 133 total points, 53 goals, and still ranks second all-time in Valley history in both of those categories. He led the league with 15 goals as a freshman in 1998, lifting the Braves from a last-place finish in '97 to a first-ever Valley regular season title. He added 15 more goals in 2000 to lead the Braves to their first-ever NCAA tournament appearance. As Lee Hall of WEEK Television in Peoria tells us, Gavin was truly a special talent as he quickly transformed the Bradley men's soccer program just as soon as he stepped foot on campus.
Jim DeRose oversees one of the premier soccer programs in the Missouri Valley Conference and the nation. Bradley's soccer team is coming off its 7th NCAA tournament appearance after winning the Valley tournament this past fall. The Braves knocked off two nationally ranked teams last season, beating Northwestern and Connecticut on their respective home fields. In 2007, the Braves made it all the way to the NCAA's Elite Eight. But it wasn't always that way. After his first two seasons in Peoria, DeRose's record was 18-19, coming off a 1-6 last place finish in the Valley. The program's direction changed in 1998 thanks to one player. That player was Gavin Glinton.
We brought everything, really. That's our joke, you know. It's the house that Gavin built, you know. I'll never forget veteran coaches who had coached 15, 20 years said to me, you know, Jimmy, you need to be very, very thankful that you had this player so early in your career because he's a generation player.
The first time you ever saw Gavin touch a ball, you knew there was something special about him. I mean, he just had abilities and talent and a spring in his step like no one else I'd ever played with before.
Glinton's impact was immediate, from 1-6 in the Valley BG before Gavin to 6-1 after, from worst to first in one season thanks to the freshman phenom.
When Gavin was on the field, he really instilled that we were never out of any game, no matter what the score was and if we were down. When Gavin was in there, we knew we had a chance, and that culture carried through and still exists today.
And it was only the beginning. Glinton led BU to its first NCAA tournament appearance as a junior. He was named All-American all 4 years at Bradley, only the second Valley athlete to ever earn that honor. He's the school's leader in goals and assists, ending his career as the Valley's all-time leader in both categories. More than a decade after he left for Major League Soccer, Gavin Glinton's legacy is still apparent in the Bradley program's relevance on the national stage.
If you had a guy who was a 4-time All-American who was all about the team, how could anybody else on the team not be about the team? So definitely his legacy lives on, that it's truly about the team and not about any one individual.
You know, it was a time where, you know, he was ready to handle the keys to the car, and we were willing to give it to him. And I don't know that I've ever had anybody like that.
For the Missouri Valley Conference, I'm Lee Hall.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bradley's Gavin Glinton.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'd like to say, first of all, thank you. It's a very humbling award. I'd like to say thank you to Doug Elgin, the voting committee, Kelly Broski, Jack Watkins, Carl Fight for everything you've done for the accommodations. I think they've been top class. So thank you very, very much for this. I guess I'd like to also start out by thanking my parents, family, brothers, cousins, aunts, uncles, my girlfriend, for allowing me to knock balls off of their shins all day long, back of their heads. They've been unbelievable. Their support and belief, I think, has allowed me to feel confident wherever I've gone, whether that be to a brand new place in Peoria, Illinois, where I don't know anybody, or in Vietnam. So I wouldn't have obviously been able to do that without them. I could never thank them enough for all their support. I'd like to give a special thanks to our team behind the team. I think that obviously with Jim DeRose, Craig Dahlquist, Ken Cavanaugh, I'm going to forget some people I know, Vernette House-Browning, Bobby Parker, obviously Jesse Cormier, Chet Flanders, the people that we had working behind the team, I think, gave us all the inspiration that we've ever needed. They've broken their backs to help each and every single one of us and to provide a platform where we could set a foundation on, obviously, starting from 193,642 out of 200 teams, and finishing, in the top 25 in a very, very competitive conference with, two teams, obviously, in the Final Four from this conference in 2000. A lot of talk goes to, the goals that were scored, but it was those people in those rooms busting their butt for us every single day, showing us what we needed to do and giving us the reins, giving us the power to kind of take it on ourselves, to have the responsibility to go out and work, and you guys definitely don't get enough credit for it. I want to thank our president, our current president, our former president, obviously David Broski, and our current president, John Glasser. I think that they've been amazing in helping the athletics and pushing forward the athletics at our university, and especially with the new facilities and everything that they've got now. I could only say I wish I was 14 years younger again. You guys, unbelievable where we played and where you guys are playing now. But I think it's it's a testimony to the hard work that they've put in, and it's very deserving. Finally, I'd like to say thank you to all my teammates. It's the result of countless selfless hours of effort and unity, and it really was. I have never been part of a team either before that or wherever I've played after that has been so unified and so selfless and literally put the team before everything. I haven't been in that environment, in a professional environment, since, and it's something that I take with me in everything I do now. When I'm trying to create things, the way I go forward with my clubs, it all has that same foundation from this very, very special group of players. It's definitely not an individual award. They know that as much as I know that, and I think that I'm very proud to say that we did this together. So thank you guys very much.
Congratulations, Gavin. In my travels throughout the Valley, you find some special people, and there are 5 people that I want to be when I grow up. One is Mario Mocha, the athletic director at Southern Illinois, who is really a bunny rabbit in a pit bull's body. 2 is Marty Perline. We all see how soft and cuddly he is. 3 is Larry Lyons of Illinois State, because I want his anchorman hair. He's right here. 4 is my former television partner, Jill Hutchison, because who really looks that good all the time? And the 5th is our next inductee. Dr. Linda Herman dedicated more than 30 years of service to Illinois State University athletics as an administrator, as a coach. Herman served as senior women's administrator, as well as four separate stints as Illinois State's interim athletics director. Couldn't get the real job, but she was interim 4 times, non-season. The Redbirds won 117 Valley championships with Linda on campus, 16 all-sports trophies. Before serving as an administrator, Herman coached Redbird volleyball team for 7 seasons and won 267 games, including a pair of national finishes in the AIAW women's tournament. She also served on the NCAA volleyball committee for 7 years, the NCAA softball committee for 3 years, and was a member of the NCAA championships committee for 2 years. As Kurt Pegler of WMBD Television explains, Dr. Linda Herman was a trailblazer for women's athletics on her campus, in this league, and in the country, helping pave ways and opportunities in everything in which she was involved.
Those who know Linda Herman know she has many titles.
Pioneer, professional, integrity.
I think teacher, coach, mentor, leader, pioneer.
She seemed to understand her role, that the role of trailblazer isn't easy.
When Linda started, she played with the boys. I mean, she was one of those individuals that she wanted it bad enough that she found a way to be placed on a boys team.
But she knew there was a place for women in sports. She was on the front lines in the 1970s, fighting battles that would eventually take women's athletics from small, dusty gymnasiums to lush, multi-million-dollar arenas.
Back in the day when women's athletics wasn't popular, cool, accepted, she was willing to step up and step out and do the right thing for female student athletes.
Now, some 4 decades later, the former volleyball coach and longtime Illinois State Athletics administrator gets another title. She's headed to the Missouri Valley Conference Hall of Fame, still blazing a trail for women and their role in intercollegiate athletics.
Generations of women really owe people like Linda Herman a great deal because they created opportunities that weren't there before. And it's not only good for women, but it's good for sport in general.
Ladies and gentlemen, a truly remarkable human being, Dr. Linda Herman.
Mitch, thank you for being our MC today. You are so good for the Valley. And thank you to all of you for being here for all of us. Right now, this is a wow moment for me in my life. I think you only get so many wow moments, and right now it seems like one of those. My heart is full of gratitude. It's just like so many great memories and so many flashbacks right now. But first and foremost, to my fellow inductees, congratulations. I'm honored to share this moment this day with you. And I truly admire your contributions and all the accomplishments that you have made. I'm truly humbled to join this opportunity in the Missouri Valley Conference with my fellow Illinois State Redbirds, who are past inductees of this Hall of Fame. Doug Collins and Jill Hutchison are in a league of their own on our campus. You add to them Olympian Kathy Boswell, President Buzz Shaw, coaches John Coughlin, Will Robinson. I want to dedicate this recognition today to my colleagues at Illinois State. My mantra has always been, people make places. Throughout my life, my career, it's the people that I've known, it's their strength, it's been their friendship, it's their wisdom, sometimes more candid than I wanted it to be, that's made a place for me here today. And it's people including all of my colleagues at Illinois State University. but especially our current athletic director, Larry Lyons, whom I have the utmost respect for. I treasure a friendship that has spanned getting close to 30 years now. And quite honestly and factually, I respect and love the entire Lyons family. Then there's SWA Leanna Bordner, and I truly cherish our friendship, the candid wisdom that you seem to continue to give to me. And, but I just appreciate the collegial opportunity that we've had to work together. Fellow coaches, longtime coaches, like Melinda Fisher, our head softball coach, like Steve Pasca and friend, swimming coach, and a person who's almost like my sister, a retired and Hall of Famer herself, Kathy Schneidwin, head athletic trainer. Then there's the presidents, such as Illinois State's emeritus, beloved Al Bowman, and the remarkable former First Lady Linda Bowman. Then there's the association with Wichita State's emeritus president, Don Beggs, and just a little tidbit of information with that one. Don and Shirley are now my next door neighbors in Bloomington Normal. That is making for some very interesting game days on Wichita State, Illinois State, and I do hope that happens tomorrow. So, but there are so many more people. I don't have the time. Marty took too much of it to name. Because I know you're in compliance a little bit, but you were way uncompliant. But there's so many people I wish I could name. Former Illinois State athletic directors, we know that would take too much time. Excuse me. I didn't mean to say that. Past and current ISU administrators, staff, coaches, student athletes, university administrators, deans, trustees, corporate sponsors and executives, ISU's loyal fans, my MVC colleagues, who I'm still happy I can call friend today, personally, my family, my BFFs, my best friends forever. Some of you are here this morning, and just please know that there is no love, no friendship that can cross the path of our destiny without leaving some mark upon it forever. It's those relationships that I treasure. It's people that make places. This ceremony is an opportunity for me to express gratitude. I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame committee for all their efforts in this event this morning, but I'm also very grateful to Doug Elgin, Patty Viverito, for their visionary leadership of this conference to keep it at the national level of which we have it. To Jack, Mike, the entire MVC staff, for the great service that you provide to our member institutions. And in just 2 minutes, maybe 3, please let me summarize 4 decades of my journey in this conference. My first MVC meeting predates Doug and Patty. You might not have thought that possible, but it was 1982. The conference office was in Tulsa. Dick Martin was the commissioner. Football was a conference-sponsored sport at the time, and it was a very big issue for our conference. And women's sports were not a part of the Missouri Valley Conference in 1982. I entered that first meeting in Tulsa, and I was the only woman in the room, an interim athletic director. But I'd have to describe that meeting as my first introduction to the Missouri Valley Conference was not exactly what I would call warm and fuzzy. But after that meeting, the faculty rep from Wichita, Marty Perline, gave me a very short pep talk. He became a mentor, and he helped me navigate a male-dominated athletic arena. Marty, I thank you for that. That same year, in 1982, is now a decade following the transformational gender equity Title IX legislation. It's also 10 years now past the existence of the AIW. The more powerful and wealthy NCAA overtook the governance of women's sports from the AIW. Women's sports programs now in 1982 had to either form their own conferences or join existing men's conferences to have access to national championships. The MVC leadership in 1982, and let me remind you that's pre-Doug and pre-Patty, was not very excited to incorporate women into the Missouri Valley. So 10 institutions, including Illinois State, forged ahead, and we formed a new conference called the Gateway Collegiate Athletic Conference for Women's Sports. I still have the minutes somewhere. And the minutes from that meeting, very first meeting, reads like this. The top priority for this new conference will be to hire a capable commissioner. Well, Patty Viverito became that first commissioner and capable commissioner of the Missouri Valley Conference. And I think most of you know the rest of Patty's story in the Missouri Valley. But today, I, along with many others, would just like to say, Patty, thank you for answering our call to lead. Fast forward another decade to 1992, and Doug Elgin is the commissioner. And at this time, the Missouri Valley Conference finally wanted and they welcomed women's sports. However, as you might imagine, there was an unease about administrative structure, championship formats, and just how women might be treated in a conference. However, Doug provided the leadership among the men's athletic directors in conjunction with women's athletic directors to create a governance structure whereby the senior women's administrator and the athletic director would have equal voting rights and privileges. In 1992, the MVC and the Pac-10 were the only two conferences in the country that provided that type of equality. And today, Doug, I'd just like to thank you for your commitment to fairness. In conclusion, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s were an era of great change for women's sports on our campuses, and actually for men's sports also, and in the Missouri Valley Conference. When I retired the second time in 2005, I realized, and as I look back, but I realized that the ceaseless energy and the egalitarian spirit, the fight for equality, and just the collective will that bound together men and women, striving to create opportunities of excellence for women's sports to participate in championships, made it an exhilarating time to live and work. I, today, would like to say I will be forever grateful to Illinois State University, all of my colleagues, for the opportunities that I was afforded to make a difference. It is people that make places. The Missouri Valley Conference Hall of Fame is made up of wonderful people who have made great contributions to their respective institutions in this conference. Now, I am honored, I am grateful to join them and those who will follow us. And I leave you with this as my favorite. To love what you do and feel that it matters, how could anything be more fun? And I thank you for this special award.
Congratulations, Linda. Well, Northern Iowa's been a track power for a long time, and our next inductee, Chris Bucknam, served as Northern Iowa's head men's track and field coach from 1984 to 2008, and the women's head coach from 1997 to 2008, after beginning his career as a men's assistant at UNI in 1979. In a quarter century with the Panthers, he built the track and field program into a national contender, coaching 34 All-Americans and sending 146 student athletes to the NCAA championships, 3 of which became national champions. Chris's men's teams won 11 Valley indoor titles, 6 Valley outdoor titles, 4 cross-country championships, while his women's squad took 2 indoor titles, an outdoor crown, and a cross-country title. As Missouri Valley Conference video correspondent Eric Braley relates, Chris Bucknam is synonymous with track and field success, bringing out the best in student athletes everywhere he goes.
From 1979 until 2008, Chris Bucknam built the track and field program at the University of Northern Iowa into a national contender. A total of 85 All-America distinctions, Bucknam sent 146 qualifiers to the NCAA championships and produced 3 national champions.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind when I think of Chris Bucknam is Bucky's got what I call mojo. He's the type of guy that he has it and then he gives it to his athletes. He motivated you to the extent where you wanted to perform day in and day out for the guy. Bucky was so passionate about the sport. He flat out came to work every single day with an attitude that we're going to get better, and you have to understand that you can be a national champion.
Bucknam guided the Panthers to an astonishing 35 Missouri Valley Conference titles, including a string of 9 straight MVC Men's Indoor Championships from 2000 to 2008.
The bottom line is the conference championships are always your first line of defense. They're always, in my mind, the most important meet of the year. It's the school, it's the league that your school's aligned with, and it's the meet you have to win. The national championships are important, there's no question about that. The string of All-Americans competing at that level, but there's nothing like hoisting a conference championship. And the Missouri Valley is a great track league, well respected, and to win as many as we did, it was certainly, it was by design. Okay, that's where you can get the most people involved in a championship.
A man who has done so much for the University of Northern Iowa, the Missouri Valley Conference, and the sport of track and field, Chris Bucknam coaches with passion, class, and a deep desire to bring out the very best in every student athlete.
I just go back to the relationships again, and that's really, when it's all said and done, that's what I cherish the most. I mean, the titles are great. I love it. I'd be lying to you if I told you I didn't have an ego. I do. But more than anything else, it's the athletes and the coaches that I've worked with here, not just in track and field, the coaches of all the sports. This is a special place. Proud to be a Panther.
When I first came to take my official visit here, I knew right away where I was going because of Chris Bucknam and Lynn King. Those two guys, they were not only my coaches, I looked at them as mentors. In some respects, I looked at them as my dad away from my dad. So I owe a lot to Chris Bucknam, and I think a lot of the track athletes that ran under him would tell you the same exact thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, former Northern Iowa track and field coach Chris Bucknam.
Wow. Marty, I've met Marty for 2 minutes, and I'm already buddies with him, I think, last night before our little interview on TV. I'm just glad during that video right there they didn't show me in my office because there were no books behind any of that. Did you see all the books there? I couldn't believe it, man. I was nervous about that. Wow, this is special. This is a huge honor, and I'm humbled, no question. I want to thank the Missouri Valley for inducting me into this unbelievable Hall of Fame. To the present inductees, congratulations. It's kind of overwhelming. I have a few thank yous. First and foremost, my wife, Cindy, that was there all these years. When I was away from home and on the weekends that I wasn't there. Honey, thank you so much. I want to thank my 2 beautiful kids, Eric and Kate, for letting their dad coach and having the weekends, with all the athletes that I coached over the years. And I just appreciated their support. And also, certainly my athletes, they're a special group. We had a lot of fun. I tried like heck to be the best coach that I could be for them, and I wouldn't be standing here. I see a couple of them right now. And thanks for being here. And thank you. I want to thank Patty Viverito. When we first joined the league, we went to a summer meeting for coaches, and we walk in. My first time in there, and all of a sudden here comes the associate commissioner, Patty Viverito. I go, holy smokes, this is a big deal. I'm in a different league now. Patty has been unbelievable to me in all the support she gave us in track and field. I've had some great athletic directors when I was at Northern Iowa, but every time one opened, where's Patty? I called Patty. And that probably jinxed it right there. She goes, what the heck's a track coach calling me for an AD's job? But I would have loved to have been working for her at Northern Iowa. She's unbelievable. And Patty, thank you for all the support. And of course, all my UNI friends. That was the tough part, leaving to go to Arkansas was my friends. And that was a hard one. But thank you for being here. It's awesome. Just briefly, all I can tell you is this. I don't have any magic formula for what I did. I tried to follow three things, though, that I felt like, made me a better coach. And I think, it served me well. And to sum it up, it goes down to this. Number one, when I took the job, I was 27 years old. When I got the head job, Bob Bowlesby hired me. And we were in a state with Iowa State and Drake. And, that was a tough go right from the very beginning. But I always tried to see it before it happened. I tell my kids this, even to this day. Try to see it before it happens. And so I had Northern Iowa in the Missouri Valley before it was in the Missouri Valley for my team. I would take all the Missouri Valley results in 86, 87. I think we joined in 91. I took all those results and we posted them on our locker room, cross-country, indoor and outdoor, every event. And then we averaged the first place finish, the second place finish, the third place finish, fourth, fifth, whatever scored. We averaged it out, and we would talk not about the league we were in. I would talk about the league I wanted to be in. And that dreaming big, that seeing it before it happens, my people did that. Dino Curris, Bob Bowlesby, saw the Missouri Valley, and I can remember the day that we joined. It was a great day for Northern Iowa track and field, and our guys were prepared. They already knew what it took to win in that league. And so I tried to think big. I tried not to let the Big Ten or the Big 8 or the Missouri Valley get in my way. We had to get the great Iowa kids if we were going to succeed. And, I felt we did that. So that was the first thing. The second thing is I never tried to stop learning. I was scared when I was 27 when I got the job. I was scared when I got the job at Arkansas in 08. I'm scared to heck right now, I'll tell you that. But I never tried to stop learning. And, two people that are really important to me on that were obviously my dad. That was unbelievable to me. And then also John Coughlin, who's in this Hall of Fame. And I bent John Coughlin's ear for years, okay? And he taught me, I wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for that coach in a different league, okay, teaching me all the things I needed to do to be successful at the highest level. And, my gratitude, we had vicious battles with Illinois State. And I was always nervous going into the meet on Saturday, the final day. And we'd be in there with Illinois State and Southern Illinois, banging heads, and we'd have our score sheets, and we had 15 events we had to do that day, and we all had the scores figured out. But when John Coughlin came in, he had this he had some kind of sweater vest or something that didn't even say Illinois State on it. It was like the American flag or something. And when he wore that on Saturday morning coming into the meet, I knew I was in trouble. Because when he didn't think he could win, he wasn't wearing that vest. And so John was just a great mentor to me, and I just appreciated that. And again, I never tried to never thought I knew everything. I still don't. And I just try to learn. And the third thing, and I probably failed miserably at this, but I tried, and that's, you know, how I treat people and how I would, how much I appreciated all the help I got. And that was, treating people and being appreciative of the work and the extra work that they did for you. There's nothing like it. There's no better feeling. And I wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for all the people that helped me. And I just hope, I guess my biggest fear, and I'll end it on this, as far as my biggest fear in my coaching career is I didn't put my arm around enough people. And so, I'm going to keep trying to do that. But I just want to thank you so much for this honor. It's a thrill and a lifetime achievement from myself and my wife, and thank you very much.
Congratulations, Chris. Since it's a morning of transparency, I'll go ahead and just let you all know I'm a San Diego Padres fan. My son got me involved in it, but I remember the day, how excited we were when Steve Finley was picked up by the San Diego Padres. I just wish all of his 19 years were with San Diego. The other thing, and Loyola, again, another welcome to the league. Welcome to our family. One of the things, if you want to have some fun sometime, just study how good baseball is in the Missouri Valley Conference. It is every night in almost every major league game that you will see at least one or several Missouri Valley Conference players on every one of the rosters in the big leagues. It's really one of the more understated stories. What is not understated is the incredible career of Steve Finley. Now, Southern Illinois has got a terrific baseball reputation, and Steve becomes the first Saluki baseball player to enter the Missouri Valley Conference Hall of Fame. He was an All-Valley choice in '86 and '87, third-team All-American in 1986, still ranks among the Saluki career leaders in runs, hits, triples, total bases, stolen bases. Good enough, he was drafted by the Atlanta Braves in '86, made his big league debut with the Orioles in 1989. 19 years in the big leagues. Played for 8 different teams, including the Pods, a 2-time Major League Baseball All-Star, a 5-time Gold Glove Award winner, and a World Series champion in 2001 with the Arizona Diamondbacks. As Darren Kennard of WSIL TV explains, Steve Finley, you hear the term 5-tool, right, in baseball? Steve Finley, a 5-tool player. He could do it all on the diamond.
Steve Finley certainly left a legacy from his playing days at SIU.
He was the type of player that when he hit, you always felt like he was going to get a hit. When he was at the plate, you felt like this guy stood a better than 50-50 chance of getting a hit.
When Finley came to the plate, where you could sit at the edge of your seat and say, well, something's about to happen. And like I said, even when he swung and missed the ball, it was something to see to me. I mean, he just had a perfect swing, and boy, he could rattle the fences.
He arrived from Tillman High School in nearby Paducah, Kentucky in 1984 and played in all 42 games as a freshman. Following a very good sophomore season, Finley hit .354 as a junior and helped lead SIU back to the NCAA tournament. Despite getting drafted by the Atlanta Braves in the 11th round, Finley returned for his senior season, where he hit .340 and was named team MVP. It wasn't just hitting, though. Finley was a top-notch center fielder as well.
He's one of the best center fielders to play here, and Southern is stocked with excellent defensive center fielders. His ability to go get the ball and to read the ball off the bat was unmatched.
Anything hit center field it's gone. I mean, he had it. Yeah, you never the thought, not sure he's going to get this one, that thought never entered your mind.
Finley was a first-team All-MVC pick his junior and senior years, and even played for Team USA in 1986 during an international competition in the Netherlands. When his playing days were done at SIU, he left as the school's all-time leader in games played, at-bats, runs scored, hits, and doubles. and was second in stolen bases. But the numbers only told part of the story.
He came to the park every day for the purpose of winning, and I think that his class and his positive attitude just sifted down to his teammates.
Players followed him because of his work ethic. His work ethic was unreal. He took extra batting practice all the time. He worked on his throwing. He worked on his running. And he always said, I'm going to the big leagues. That was the cockiest thing I ever heard him say. And by God, awfully quickly after being drafted, he made it.
The Baltimore Orioles selected Finley in the 13th round of the 1987 draft. After just 2 seasons in the minors, Finley made his major league debut in April of 1989. Following 2 seasons with the Orioles, he was traded to Houston. Finley went on to play 19 seasons for 8 different clubs. He won 5 Gold Gloves, was a 2-time All-Star, and helped Arizona win the World Series in 2001.
Back is Finley on the run, a leap and a catch, and the inning is over. Finley gets it into deep right, and the Diamondbacks are on top. Home run Steve Finley, and it's 1-0 Arizona in the 5th.
Finley is one of only 6 players in Major League history to have 300 homers, 300 stolen bases, and 2,000 hits. A group that includes Barry Bonds, Willie Mays, Andre Dawson, Alex Rodriguez, and Carlos Beltran.
Everything he did was proper. It was right. He did things the way things are supposed to be done.
In 40 years of watching SIU baseball, he's the best all-around player I've seen. People have hit better, people have thrown better, people have run better, but in terms of being everything, he's the best that Southern's ever had, in my opinion.
Steve, you've not only brought pride to Southern Illinois University, you brought pride to this whole league, because how many times have we said it? That guy played at Southern Illinois. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the best to ever be in this league, Steve Finley.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you to the MVC, Doug, for bestowing on me this incredible honor. I'd also like to congratulate all the other inductees today. It's a fantastic day for me, and I'm sure it is for you, and I'm so glad to be here. I got to ask a question this morning, and I get asked quite often, when did you retire? And I kind of stop and I go, well, I stopped playing in 2007 because they ripped the uniform off and sent me home. In my mind, I'm still playing. And for all you announcers out there, in my mind, I still play every day. I get hits every time, make every defensive play. When I played, we always used to criticize announcers that used to say, how did he not make that play? How could he not swing the bat right there? I get it now. I get it, because you make that play in your head every time. So I never really retired. I just quit playing. Actually, they told me to go home, take my ball and go home. But I still get to participate in Major League Baseball International and do international camps. So I still get my baseball fix. But after I stopped playing in 2007, I went through a divorce and then got remarried. And after I was married for a year, my wife said, why don't you have any of your pictures up? And I thought to myself, well, I never really paid attention to awards or talked about myself. And she said, go get those awards out of storage and put them on the wall. And I did. And after I put them on the wall, I started looking around, and it was my chronological career from high school all the way through the big leagues. And I started reflecting on each of those time periods about, what made me the player then, who helped me along. And, you never really get a chance to thank those people. And I want to take that time to thank a few of the people that really made a difference in my career along the way. First, my parents. They gave me everything that I needed to be successful. They made sure I had every sporting equipment I needed, got to every game, every practice. They supported me all the way through my career. And you never really get a chance to thank them for being there. And Sue, you know, it's something you kind of take for granted. And thank you very much for always being there and helping me become the person I am today. Thank you. Second, Itchy Jones. I know a lot of you in the room know Itchy Jones. You can probably hear his voice from Florida right now if he was talking. It carries forever. He took me my freshman year when he came to recruit me, and he said the magic words to my ear were, center field is yours to lose. And I could have gone to a lot of other colleges, but I wanted to play. All I cared about was playing baseball, and I said, where do I sign on the dotted line? I never even saw the university. I came to the university after and realized what a gym we had at SIU just in my backyard. I grew up in Paducah, Kentucky. And he took me my freshman year, and he said, you get to hit your way for the first 2 weeks, and then we're going to go down to the cage, and I'm going to change you. Because if you want to go beyond Southern Illinois, you're going to have to change your swing. And I'm cocky, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm hitting the ball great for the first 2 weeks. And he said, let's go. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm hitting well. Nope, we're going down to the cage. And he did. He retooled my swing. He not only retooled my swing, he showed me how to bunt for hits. He showed me how to do angles in the outfield. He was a master of the fungo. I mean, every day in the outfield, running after balls. He taught us how to be, as players in the team, he let us be self-reliant upon making sure we got our weight workouts in, our after practice conditioning. He taught us to motivate ourselves. And when I look back, he taught me all the little nuances of the game that kind of get overlooked in baseball. And when I signed my professional contract in 2007, I spent a year and a half in the minors. I raced through the minors. And I was not necessarily better than everyone else, but people have told me in the past now that I did the little things in baseball that made a difference. And that's why I vaulted so fast through the system. And I found myself in the big leagues in '89. So, you know, one person that had the most impact on my career and gave me the foundation is Itchy Jones. And I really, wherever you are out there, Itchy, thank you so much. I'd also like to thank SIU as a school. It gave me my two best friends in life, Lee Meyer and Chuck Locke. To this day, we still do everything together. Lee was my roommate for 4 years. The only two guys that were in both of my weddings. Without going there, I wouldn't have met them. And I know Lee's parents are here tonight, or here this afternoon. Thank you for being here, because they followed my career as much as Lee did. And I'd really like to thank SIU and the athletic department. Mario and Reed, I know you weren't there when I was there, but the school was beautiful. The athletics were great then. When I finished playing, you know, you always get the question, where did you go to school? And my answer was SIU. And then there was a pause, and I'm waiting for them to say something. Well, I go the Salukis. And I know everyone that's a SIU alum in here knows the gyration of explaining what a Saluki is, and, well, why is it the Saluki? Well, it's kind of a little Egypt. Why is it little? And then I just forget it. Okay, I'm SIU. So for the first half of my career through the 1990s, I did that 1,000 times. And fast forward to the 2000s, now and up till now, when I say, people ask me where I went to school, I say SIU, they finish my sentence and say the Salukis. So that tells me you guys are doing a fantastic job, and it makes me proud as an ex-Saluki to hear that. So thank you very much, and continued success. You know, I'd like to finish up, and again, thank you for this great honor. I'm so happy to be here. It's just been a great day, and I'm looking forward to experiencing Arch Madness. I've never been here. And good luck to all the teams that are involved in here, but go Salukis.
Thanks, Steve, and let's give another just big round of applause to this 2014 unforgettable class. A few more logistical items. We need the Hall of Fame inductees to come forward for pictures after we adjourn. And Kelly Briscoe also mentioned that there are posters out in the hallway as you leave. I do need to tell you this. We are, Steve, getting ready for our quarterfinals today, but you have to leave the Peabody Opera House. You can't sneak across over to the arena. So you have to exit the Peabody Opera House and then use your game tickets to enter Scott Trade Center for our games today, which begin at noon with our Wichita State against Evansville game. Also, and very important, the President's Council meeting will begin immediately. To my right, to your left, through these doors, right, Doug? And it's there's a lot of important things on the agenda today. So that will meet immediately after the doors to my right. Again, thank you so very much for being a part of this special morning and this great class. And we hope you enjoy the rest of Arch Madness. Thank you.
Surprised, not everything lasts. I've broken my heart so many times I stopped keeping track. Talk myself in, I talk myself out. I get all worked up, then I let myself down. I tried so very hard not to lose it. I came up with a million excuses. I thought of every possibility. And I know someday you'll make me work so we can work to work it out. And I promise you, kid, that I'll give so much more than I get. I just haven't met you yet.
Your attention, please. Again, we need the Hall of Famers to come to the stage, please. The Hall of Fame inductees. Thank you.